Hello, thank you for joining me today again on the church history trail, and we're continuing in Belfast. And as you can see from the inscription there, we're outside First Presbyterian Church, and it says founded in the 17th century, and rebuilt in 1783, if you can see that. And we also have a couple of wee plaques here. One is to Sir Samuel Davidson, 1846 to 1921, an inventor and engineer. Founder Sirocco Works, and that's 1881. And he attended Second Presbyterian Church near the site. And then this one here is Dr. William Drennan, 1754 to 1820. And he's a patriot, and he was a radical as well. And he was born in the manse on this site. And so, pretty amazing. And also then, we'll have another billboard here, which is Rosemary Street, First Presbyterian Church, and it's 1783. And it says the church is Belfast's oldest surviving place of worship within the old town boundary. It was founded in 1644, although the present building, designed by Roger Mulholland, was built 1781 to 1783 at a cost of £2,300. You definitely wouldn't get a bill for that money today. The church is non-subscribing Presbyterian. That is to say, it does not subscribe to the Westminster Confession of Faith. In other countries, the closest type of church is Unitarian. And it says John Wesley in 1703 to 1791, founder of the Methodist Revival, preached here in 1789 and wrote in his journal that it is the completest place of worship I have ever seen, beautiful in the highest degree. And of course, when it says that it's Unitarian there, that means they, for the most part, don't believe in the Trinity, because uni means one. And so we're someone who believes in, like myself, who believes in the Trinity. Trinity means three. And so you have God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, but Unitarians don't believe in the deity of Christ. And so there's another wee inscription here that I'm going to read out to you. And it says First Presbyterian Church, Belfast. It was founded 1644. And it says First Presbyterian Church, Belfast. This is the original Presbyterian congregation in Belfast, formed in 1644. It has been located on this site in Rosemary Street since 1695. Roger Mulholland was the architect of the present meeting house, which was erected in 1783 and is now listed as a building of architectural merit and historic interest. And then it goes on. And of course, as it said in the sign there, William Drennan was actually born in the manse here. And although the Dublin barrister Wolfe has traditionally been credited as the founder of the Society of the United Irishmen, it was actually the brainchild of Dr. William Drennan, the son of a Presbyterian minister. And so we're going to go in and have a wee look round the church. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you. I'm Mark.
RAYMOND REGAN from Queen's University. They started as a church.
Very good. And would you like to say a few things on camera of the history?
Certainly, as I say, first of all, welcome to the 1783 church. The first physical church built here was 1685, 1719, and the one you're in now is 1783. They actually step into it. I'll just put the lights on it for you. Make it a little bit brighter. Not warmer, but brighter.
I actually know about the church from my good friend Tom McLean.
Right.
I didn't actually know this church existed.
Well, you've now stepped physically back into 1783.
My goodness.
When we come in the front there, it's quite old, 1832, even it's nearly 200 years old, but this is 1783.
That is wild, isn't it?
So what you're actually in now is where all these famous people, you know, Thomas Andrews, the Titanic, member here, Harland Wolff, Harland, he was a member here. You've got people involved in the bank, and just up here, show you.
The architecture here is fantastic.
It is, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
That's the bank connection there. Fine, that's the one there.
All right.
There's one particular one here. I always like to point out to people, and he's not that well known, but he should be. If you want to maybe even get in, you can get an idea of that there. That is where you're sitting. There's a man called Thomas McCabe. I got a plaque put up for him. What he did was, this is the Exchange and Assembly building.
The slaves?
Slaves? They tried to set up a Belfast slave steel company, and this is Thomas McCabe, the man where you're sitting. He goes down to the meeting, and part of what he said was, may God wither the hand if anybody gives the first guinea. It didn't take place as such, but that's where he sat.
That's wild, isn't it?
Fantastic, isn't it? But the thing
It is
about
fantastic.
Belfast people wouldn't know him. If I said to Belfast people now, Thomas McCabe will say, is he playing Man United or something? He's a footballer. But he should be up there, because this is 1786, he stopped Belfast getting involved. The sad thing about it, if you look, I've highlighted, see there, that particular person, that's a man called Waddell Cunningham, member of the Second Church. We discovered later on he'd been a Caribbean trader in New York, and we actually discovered in Montserrat he actually had a plantation. So you can see why he called the meeting. He could see there's money to be made. And that realising people like Thomas McCabe, Miriam McCracken, there's a big anti-slavery movement here.
And I see Thomas was also a member of the Society of United Irishmen as well then.
Well, you know, Simolides, of course, his house was called Visnage. And that's where Simolides is built on the side of his house. And within Simolides, I think they actually have also a History Circle plaque.
Is that right?
That, as such, you know. So
amazing.
I think the sad thing is Belfast people won't know, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't know about it.
The thing about it, it's just another thing to be slightly go off beam here. There's going to be a statue put up around there, a man called Frederick Douglass. He visited Belfast.
He was the abolitionist?
Yeah, but that's the way, I mean, this is a man in 1786, even before Wilberforce in 1807.
That's what I was going to say. You could really say that he was the Wilberforce of Belfast.
He was way before that there, and he stopped it, was the same, you know what I mean? And yet, the plaque, you know why? Whenever they come around, I told them that story, the three people involved in doing this here. I said, have you got a portrait up? He says, no, I don't. So that's why he's pushed to the side. I have a portrait of this other character.
Frederick Douglass.
He's abolitionist and these things, but he's not. He visited Belfast. The 1786 and even in 1807 is when for in England it was banned in England, and yet he's way ahead of his time.
And he's forgotten.
Bristol, 500,000, he's forgotten.
It's what we would call a hidden gem.
A hidden gem, definitely. There's people like, for instance, there's Harlan and Wolff.
Yes.
That's where he would have sat before he moved back to London. That was his seat, you know, near the front as well. Too,
yes.
As well. And then even over here, even more importantly, probably, the connection with things like the Titanic you've got here. Thomas Andrews, you know, helped design the Titanic and also dies on the maiden voyage. That's where he sat in there.
Is that was his place then?
That was there. There was a double thing there, the Bat family as well.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic.
I've actually done a wee video on another gentleman.
Who's that now?
I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, he's buried in Bangor Abbey.
Right.
But he was a surgeon on the Titanic.
Oh, is that right?
And he's not buried, sorry, it's a memorial to him.
Right.
But he
died,
he died on the Titanic. If you check the wee card that I give you, you'll see that one.
Very good. Good to hear about things like that.
Yeah.
As you say, he dies. His idea was him and his men go out and see how that Titanic was on his first voyage, but never to come back again.
Yeah, desperate.
It's fantastic, that is.
Amazing.
It is.
And then you have pipe organ as well.
That actually, the Riddle sisters paid for that to be installed in 1907.
Oh, 1907,
so actually, they
right?
the church. See, the seating was a pure ellipse, so it had to be cut away to make room.
For that?
So that bit there is 1907. This is 1783.
My goodness.
The Riddle sisters, the Riddle family actually, they're still going. I think there's a family, there's a business called Riddle. They sat over here. Fantastic.
Amazing.
And the seating too, it's nice, isn't it?
And then
the
seating's lovely.
as well.
And I believe John Wesley preached in here as well. Then.
John Wesley did preach here, he did, yeah, he did.
My goodness.
And
that's one thing I've learned about Wesley, see no matter where I go, he turns up.
He did around, and he made compliments, complimentary about how great this church was, but apparently he said the same thing no matter where he went.
Did I? I actually have the quote here.
Yeah, no, I was really the most completest thing or something, he said. Yeah, he really did go to town, but apparently he's a bit late.
Is that right?
Apparently, he said that, probably.
He says that
it's the most completest building or something.
It is the completest place of worship I have ever seen. Yeah. Beautiful in the highest degree.
Yeah.
Well, I think he probably meant it about this one.
No, well, I mean, it definitely does.
Because it definitely is nice.
The shape of it, as I say, the acoustics are very good because of the shape. BBC, Northern Opera, film companies have used it.
Is that right?
Aye, as I say, So the acoustics are very, very good. People always come
Aye.
are good.
Well, I think too, especially before the days of, you know,
Aye.
the
PA and
PA
all
systems.
the background. Yeah, yeah.
That's why you have two, you know, there's a big echo in these places
yeah,
that you can
yeah.
hear.
Aye.
And so people could hear at the back and,
Well, as you
you know.
say, even as I say, you notice if you're out there and those doors are closed and somebody's talking up here, you can hear there's no way out there.
Yeah. And then Wolftongue, his father was the minister here. And,
No, Wolf, not Wolf.
not Wolftongue, sorry, William Drennan.
Dr. Drennan, his father was, exactly, that's right. He was
His
the
father
minister
was,
here.
and he was born in the manse. Is that the manse beside the building?
No,
there?
that's 1958. The months before there, it was destroyed in a blitz.
But it was on that site, was it?
That was exactly where it was. That's right,
Aye,
yeah.
yes, got you.
That's where he was born. Him, his sister Martha Mateer,
Uh-huh.
she married Samuel Mateer, remember the church here. She opens up number 25 Donegal Street, Belfast's first maternity hospital.
Is that right?
Now that building's done. If you go up Donegal Street on the right hand side,
It's still there,
there's
is it?
like a cafe at the bottom, or till that there's a cafe. But that's number 25, and you look at the first floor in that building. That's where Martha Mateer, in 1785, set up the first Belfast maternity hall. She writes to Dr. Drennan, who's in Dublin,
Yes.
pregnancy and obstetrician, and she says what she's doing. He writes back, he says, make sure you put above the word, wash hands.
Yes.
Way ahead of his time.
Absolutely. Funny enough, I have a really wee bit on that
Have you?
actually.
Yeah.
I have because
It's definitely worth it.
it's very interesting. I'll tell you for why. Because, as you say, he is also credited with having been one of the earliest advocates of the inoculation against smallpox.
On that particular point, good point, when he was in Belfast practicing, dealing with people in the poorhouse, he was treating them with cowpox.
Yes.
To avoid smallpox, way ahead of Jenner.
Yeah, way ahead of his time.
Way ahead of his time. See, I think
Amazing.
about the wash hands.
Uh-huh.
An American and an Austrian doctor in the middle of the 19th century got a credit for that. He got that away back in 1785, no mention
Yeah.
of it.
Well,
And
I
the
actually,
cowpox.
I have a source that goes even back further.
Is that right?
I have indeed. It's called the Bible.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Because until recent, modern times, doctors actually washed their hands in a bowl of water,
Right.
leaving invisible germs in their hands. They didn't know about micro germs and all
Right,
that.
right, yeah.
However, in the Bible, God had actually specifically told the nation of Israel to wash in running water
Right. Oh, it's all right. Actually,
in
it's
Leviticus
special.
15, verse 13. So that's a case there where the Bible is actually way ahead of the
sure,
science
look,
of the day.
What about the other one on a lighter note? The red sky at night, showers
Shepherds delight, that's right.
Jesus said that.
That's right.
He was making a point to people. This is what you say. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
If you said it to anybody, you think that's some Victorian farmer,
Yeah.
probably sitting on a fence thinking, But actually, it comes from Matthew 13 or something like that.
And there's also, there's a guy called, in America, there was a guy called Matthew Fontaine Murray.
Right.
Now, again, he was way ahead of his time, but he was reading in Psalm 8 one day, where
Aye.
it said about the fish of the sea that swim through the paths of the sea.
Right.
So he said if the Bible says about paths in the sea, I'm going to look for them.
Aye. Yeah.
And he actually ended up writing a book on oceanography. He's one of the fathers of
that right?
oceanography.
Aye.
And what he done was he was able to chart the paths of the sea,
Right.
the currents.
Yes.
And so before
Aye.
that, a lot of the ships were being
Oh,
destroyed.
They had no idea. Yeah.
And so he was able to chart this out, and they knew what
Exactly
parts
what
this.
route to take and things like that, yeah.
Absolutely. So they have an
Wait,
actual.
was it in the 19th century or what?
I think that was 1800s, if I remember rightly.
Way ahead of his time.
And they have a monument of
Right.
Fontaine Murray up in Virginia, and it
Very
says Fontaine Murray, the pathfinder of the sea.
Talking about monuments, a man called. Have you ever been to Ramelton in Donegal?
No.
Nearby, a tiny little place, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Francis McKeamy from Ramelton is the father of American Presbyterianism.
Oh, is that right?
There's a statue to him in Pennsylvania.
Huh?
So from a tiny little place, and he's
Aye.
the father of American.
It's a bit like what do you call him? William Penn, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
founded
Aye,
Pennsylvania? Aye.
Another thing too is we're talking about the church thing, okay? People probably don't realise up to about 1834, the Shankill Road was the Antrim Road.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, you still get, if you think of it, you still get them probably
All
over
right.
the mountain that way. Okay, so what happens, of course, to build the more direct one, okay? And then it says, well, what would we call the other one? This one says, okay, the White Church of Belfast used to be up at the Shankill, so let's call it Shankill, which is Irish for Old Church.
Yep, that's right.
So Loyal Shankill Road's got a Gaelic name.
And even in Scotland, Kill is for church, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Amazing.
But I love the idea, but Loyalist Shankill Road, it's got a Gaelic name. I don't think people,
And then William Drennan is also credited with the term Emerald Isle.
His poem, yeah.
Isn't
yeah,
he? In his
that was
poem.
yeah, one of his poems.
And so he credited that.
Yeah.
And although the United Irishmen, most of them would have been Presbyterians.
Up here.
Yeah, in Ulster especially, yeah, that's right.
Because they've been treated like second-class citizens by the, you know.
Yeah, but also the yeomanry.
Some of them.
There was a lot of Presbyterians in the yeomanry as well on the government side. So it was nearly like a civil war within the Presbyterian church.
Yeah, up in the
wasn't
north,
it?
it definitely was, as you say.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
if you think, way back in 1603, Arthur Chichester, as a reward for having to defeat Ulster Guild, he's given Belfast, which is only like a little mud thing, because
Yeah.
people lived up in the hills. He was given Portage Donegal, County Down, County Antrim, okay? So in 1616, he builds a corporation church.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're a member of the corporation, if you're a church of your Presbyterian, you had to go there.
Aye, that's
The
right.
Presbyterians didn't have anywhere to have a site. So in 1644, you'll see in this here, I'll take it with you.
Well, thanks very much.
1644, they actually take over Anglican Church. In 1649, Cromwell's troops arrive. Colonel Venables takes Belfast and kicks the Presbyterians out of there and out of Belfast. And he uses the former Anglican Church as a citadel, put his soldiers in it.
He also
take
used the
off
lead, didn't he,
roofs,
of the roof? Yeah.
took lead off the roof. So when it's handed back, it was in a very bad condition. Then 1770s, it's knocked down, and the pulpit out of that is in St Mary's. So the pulpit in St Mary's Catholic Church came from the former church in High Street there.
And then King Billy's chair's in there as well, isn't it?
St Billy's Church. That's why I'm surprised it's not opened. It should be opened again.
I was in it there now, so
Is it open recently?
Aye,
Someone said to me they found it was. That's good. It should be.
it was now.
Then
And they allowed me to video in it, so they did. You know,
Well,
so it's
Bunting
good.
as well, you know, Bunting the organist, he's associated the man who records all the time they had the harp festival in 1782. He sits down, writes down
All
all
right.
the music. See, the harpists learned the music, they didn't have it written down.
Yes,
So if he hadn't written it down and recorded it, it would have been lost.
yes.
You know, so, you know. But you're talking about, what do you call about the United Irishman you mentioned?
William
You
Drennan?
thought- No, the other one.
Wolftown.
Tone actually was at the he visited the harp festival in 1782, and he wrote down strum, strum, strum. All the good tunes have been. He wasn't impressed at all.
Is that right?
There was 6 harpists, 4 of them were blind. There was a girl
My
harpist
goodness.
as well.
I've actually seen his death mask.
what?
His death mask, Wolftone's death mask. His death mask is actually in St Michael's in Dublin.
Is that right? Ah, well, because he was.
Yeah.
He was Church of Ireland, so he was.
Aye.
wasn't
Yes, he was a non-Presbyterian, that's right.
he? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know about, don't you, the first and second, the non-subscribing?
There was a debate
that?
here, wasn't there, at 1830? Was there a debate here on...
No, what actually happened was 1722, the first and second are told to belong to the fold, you must accept the Westminster Confession of Faith. They said we couldn't subscribe to that. So ever since then, they're known as non-subscribing.
Yeah.
So even 1886, whenever the second move up to Elwood Avenue or Queen's Right each, they're called All Souls, still non-subscribing. There's, I think, 21 Northern Ireland, 1 in Dublin and 1 in Cork.
There's one at the bottom of my hill where I live, in Dromore.
Yeah, as I'm saying, yeah, they're still about, you know, they're very, very liberal. And the nice thing about it is, too, to highlight how liberal they are. For the last 18 years, I've been the catech historian of a Protestant church.
Is
He
that right?
came here today at 1:45. There's a sign goes up on the door, says, back soon, gone to Mass at St Mary's. People do laugh, like, years ago people would take offence at that. What's he doing in there?
It's
But
funny.
most people just say, you know.
Well, what did you say your name was, sorry, again?
Raymond O'Regan, I give my card there, I left it for you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Dr. O'Regan.
Well, thanks very much, and
That's why, as I say,
I'll give you a hand that we shake.
19,500 people through those doors, but lots of Belfast people just walk past here, wouldn't give it a second thought, because there's nothing that really attracts you until
Yeah.
you actually come in, you see yourself.
Yeah, I know
You're
it's
missing.
a
Fantastic.
fantastic building. There's no doubt about it. And then William Drennan was just to get back to William. William was instrumental in the Ince, the founding of Ince,
He was
wasn't he?
involved in that too as well. And then Dr. Crombie, who was the first minister here, he's the man who came up, the Academy Street. That's where he finds his academy.
Oh, is that
They
right?
eventually moved to Clinton Road, called Belfast Royal Academy. So BRA and Ince owe it to the church here. The people involved in this church.
And then
Fantastic.
there was also a pupil, and I've done a video there just earlier on his. There's a blue plaque up to Lord Calvin, William Thompson,
Yeah.
and he was a Scientist. He also went to that school as well.
Yeah, as I said, yeah. Fantastic.
So, well, thanks very much for
Well,
the.
that's why I said 19,500 people have been through the doors.
That's it. Well, I wouldn't have known about this only for Tom McLean's wee video that he done here.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
There you are. Take it with you, as I said, because it gives you a
That's
bit
great.
of background. And anytime it's open, just come on in.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And again, if you enjoy the channel, please like and subscribe. God bless.